Hi, this is Bill Cecil, and welcome to episode number 25 of my podcast series, Best Year Ever or Bust. The podcast series designed to help uplift, motivate, and empower you to make every year as a teacher your best year ever by helping you help your students make it their best year ever despite any and all challenges you encounter throughout the school year. Hopefully by now you and your students have adopted the 100% all-in mindset, best year ever, bust baby, and you're not letting anyone or anything stop you and your team from making it happen. As always, number one, I want to thank you for striving to be the heroes you've been called to be in your classroom every day. And also, thank you for taking time to listen to this podcast. And I want to give a special thank you to all of you that are taking time to share this podcast series with other teachers and teachers in training you know. I really appreciate it. By the way, I do have one quick favor to ask, and that's if someone took the time to introduce you to this podcast series and you feel it's having a positive effect in your classroom this year, please find some time this week to thank them and let them know how much you appreciate the fact that they took the time to share this with you, because it's having a big impact, not on just you, but on your students as well. Remember, it takes a healthy village to raise healthy children. And that includes teens and young adults as well. Okay, hey, if you recall, in episode number 22 and 23, I shared with you the number one and the number two top things I learned throughout my career that helped me stay strong, not letting anyone or anything knock the enthusiasm out of me, which allowed me to keep my love and passion intact for teaching. And I'm not saying that 1 and 2 basically means that that they are the most important. All of these I consider equal importance, okay, except for maybe the last one, which I'll share at the very end. But definitely, these are the top 3-4 things that I wanted to share with you that I think really will have such an impact on you, helping to deal with all the challenges that you're going to face throughout your career and never lose your love and passion for teaching. So in this episode, I want to share with you the top third thing that I learned throughout my teaching career that helped me to take on and deal with many of the challenges I faced. And that is to identify your purpose or your higher purpose and pursue it every day. That is to have purpose when you go into your classroom every single day, and to make sure that you're not letting anything take you off that path, even as you teach the curriculum. Way back in episode number 2, I shared with you that when I started teaching, I thought my sole purpose as a teacher was to teach my students the curriculum in such a way that they could learn it. That, and to teach them strategies they could use to better master the curriculum, like, problem solving, taking notes, active reading, testing skills, and so on. Obviously, this is the role every teacher is expected to play every day in their classroom, and this is what your district pays you to do, and to do well, which makes sense. You're a teacher. They expect you to teach your kids how to learn. But like I mentioned in episode number 2, it didn't take long for me in my first year of teaching to realize that not every student came into my classroom with the same desire to learn or belief in themselves that they could learn. In fact, what was even more disturbing to me was that not every child had the same fire burning inside of them or that light shining inside of them that other kids seemed to have. Some of my students seemed stuck in a place of despair at age 10. It broke my heart to see some of my students literally come to my class each day with their heads hanging down, looking like they were already defeated again at age 10. And they were already giving up on themselves, unwilling to try to better themselves. It could be that something in their home life was so traumatic or stressful that it was interfering with their desire or their ability to come in and to learn. Or maybe worse, it was someone had told them they weren't smart enough, or they were telling themselves that they weren't smart enough to learn, so they weren't even trying. I'm telling you, over a very short period of time, I started to realize that as a teacher, I was given an opportunity to do something even more powerful and amazing while I went about the task of teaching the curriculum, which I enjoyed doing, by the way, and learning strategies each day, which I also love teaching the learning strategies. So it's not that I didn't come into teaching to teach and to get my kids to learn certain strategies that would help them improve. That's a lot of creativity went into that as well, and I love that part of my job. But I felt that my main role as a teacher was also to uplift, motivate, and get my students to believe in themselves. I'm going to say that again. I know I've said it a lot, but I really want you to hear it right now in this episode. I felt my main role as a teacher was also to uplift, motivate, and get my students to believe in themselves. This was early, very early in my career, like I said, in my first year of teaching. I was starting to discover my goal, my mission, why I became a teacher. I believed I discovered teaching, or it discovered me, to help give me the opportunity to help get these students out of a place of despair. I know that sounds crazy. I've told you several times that I had a coach in college. My soccer coach said to me, after we did some summer camps with the kids in the summer as we were training for our season, that he said, you should become a teacher. What's your major? And then he encouraged me to take a course. And I told you I did, and I never looked back. So yes, he's the one that helped me find teaching. But I believe that this was my destiny. I know that's, now we're getting into the deep stuff. But truly, I believe that I was on the wrong path, and somehow I was lifted to the right path. And this was starting to become clear to me why I was going into teaching early on in my career, when I started to see that these students were in front of me with so much despair at such an early age and were giving up on themselves. And so this is where I think I was starting to find my purpose. So what I loved about going into my classroom every day was that I was on a mission to get them to lift their heads up from a place of despair to a place of hope. And so what I did was I would do everything I could to get them to believe in themselves. And I've shared these back with you in the earlier episodes about coming in each day with positive quotes, talking about it's going to be their best year ever, giving them the 3 words to focus on, things that would actually get them up and get them start to maybe think, this is a new year, that I cared about them, right? These are things that they would get them excited, and they would think, yeah, maybe this is going to be the year. Once I would go in like I was spotting them every day to see whose head was going to pop up of the ones I was most concerned about. And when I saw those heads pop up one by one throughout, the year, I would quickly motivate them to take action. And then I would keep trying to get them to take action long enough to start seeing a result. So I would start small, baby steps, right? I'd give them something small to do and say, you did it. Great. Now try this. And so I would see them start to build their momentum. And once I got them to a place where they could believe in themselves, and then I could even push them a little bit more to try more things, oh my gosh, this is where I actually truly, I think, fell in love with teaching. Because I've found out that once you get them to a place that they believe in themselves, you get them from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, man, it was like they were suddenly off to the races, and it was game on from that point on. That is gold. That was my gold. That's what made me go home and get excited about the job I was doing. Man, I get to do this. I get to make a difference in these kids' lives. I was getting to be the person I was hoping that I would find in my schools early on in my schooling when I was struggling. And I did when I talked about Mr. Trekkie and Mrs. Bagnall, my 4th grade teacher, and some other, decent teachers, good teachers. But I was wanting to be the ones that really stood out and helped elevate not just my ability to learn, but to get me excited about myself and the process of learning, that I had it in me that I could achieve. And so this is where I started to find my purpose. And I want this for you as well. And I'm sure many of you are already there, but if you aren't, this is why I'm doing this episode today, to get you to really think about it. Basically, this is where I discovered my why, I guess is what I'm trying to say, why I teach. It's the same why that kept me on the same journey for 31 years throughout my teaching career, why I continue to stay in teaching even with all the challenges I faced. Look, believe me, yes, I know you're facing big challenges today, but if you go back and ask any teacher at any era, they're going to tell you they faced major challenges as well. It's not a competition, right? If that's important to you, I'll give it to you. You win, right? You're facing the bigger challenges, which I truly believe that maybe I was facing throughout my career, but that's not important. At the time when you're in a challenge, you think it's the biggest challenge in the world to you, and it can have that effect on you. So being a teacher allowed me the opportunity I saw as a chance to pursue my life's purpose, which was to uplift, motivate, and empower and elevate my students every day I walked into my classroom. I realized that teaching gave me a platform to pursue my life's purpose and to strive for that every single day, to make a difference in my students' lives when I walked into that classroom. I know so many people that they go to work and they make a great living, but it's a 9-to-5 job for them, right? There's nothing really in it that's super exciting, or that's driving them, or that they go home and they think about for many hours. And sometimes I know we wish we could go home and turn it off, and we can't. Our brains are overloaded with all of this. But I'm serious. We're lucky, we're blessed to be able to go in and know that every day our work really, truly matters and makes a difference in other people's lives, which I've talked about, right? Go back and listen to episode number, I think it was number 7 or 8, when I talked about the billboards, right? Teachers on the billboards. We make a difference every day. I'm a teacher and I make a difference every day. That's truly what I was discovering at this point in my career early on, and it was starting to fire me up even more, knowing that I didn't make the wrong decision. Yeah, there were some times during my career, I'm not talking weeks or months, but days where I thought, did I really choose the right decision? This is tough. I'm having a tough time right now. I'm in over my head, right? But seriously, overall, I just loved what I was doing, and that's what I want for you. Here's the important part, though. However, never in any of my training to become a teacher, or any training I had as a teacher that I can remember, did anyone ever talk to me about the importance of discovering and staying focused on my why I teach. Look, I was told many times what to teach, and I was told many times when to teach, and I was even told how to teach, which was the hardest for me to swallow sometimes, because they'd give me a script to read, and I didn't like that near the end of my career. I would still find ways to infuse or to insert my personality, my talents, my passions into what I was doing. Yes, I followed the rules, I followed their script, but they didn't say I couldn't add on to it, which I did often. But seriously, I was told the what's, the whens, and the hows, but I was never told why I teach. And that's what kept me firmly on my path each day throughout each year of my 31-year teaching career. The fact that I knew I had the opportunity to go in and truly make a difference every day in my classroom. By the way, like I said, I was told so many times, when to do, what to do, how to do it, and when it had to be done. But the one thing that I had that I don't think many other teachers had, because nobody ever taught it to them, was that I had my why. And my why always remained the same from year to year, no matter what was going on, no matter the challenges, no matter what the curriculum change was. It was still to go in to uplift, motivate, and empower my students to believe in themselves, to believe that they could achieve, right? It became my North Star. So the times I struggled during my career, like I was starting to feel beaten up or beaten down, or feeling off course a little bit or lost, right? It's just like in golf, sometimes you hit it into for me, it was all the time, not hitting it on the fairway, but hitting it out in the rough. Sometimes you find yourself out in the rough and you feel a little lost, right? The same's true with teaching. All I had to do was to focus on the green, or in my case, my North Star, my purpose, my why. Over time, I learned how to filter all the whats, hows, and whens more consistently through my why, regardless of whatever I was teaching or testing them on. I continued to strive to uplift, motivate, and empower my students every day. Even on the days we were testing, I remember this. They were getting tested and they were so stressed out with the results, because that's all they heard us talking about, or we were being pushed to talk about. And I would tell my kids, don't worry about the end result. Go in and play to the best of your ability. And how do you do that? By giving your best effort. It's one of our 3 words. You've been working on this all year. Just focus on doing what I've been telling you to do all year. Just go in and give your best effort. No matter how it ends up, you can walk out with your head held high, knowing that I'm proud of you, that you gave yourself your best effort. And hopefully, more importantly, you'll walk out feeling that same way yourself. So my goal is that you're going to walk out after any test I give you from this point on, or any test in your future, knowing that if you give it your best effort, walk out with your head up, knowing that if it didn't break your way this way, it eventually is going to come your way, because hard work, attendance, attitude, and effort will always pay off in the long run. So keep at it, like Thomas Edison. So doing this, it helped me even during testing time not to feel like I was seeing my kids as stressed out as other teachers I was here complaining about how stressed out their kids were. I wasn't putting that stress on them. I was trying to get them to filter as using this as an opportunity to give your best effort and to see what happens, right? And it'll give you some information to maybe learn about setting new goals or what you want to do next. But the point is, don't worry about the results when you go in to take the test. Just go in and focus on giving your best, and it will work out. I think that's good advice for everything that they do in school. So for me, it made even the challenges of all the test-taking pressure, it just felt worth it to me in the end. Why? Because bottom line, that as teachers and educators, we want to know that our life matters, that what we do really makes a difference in our students' lives. And so for me, if I could walk out of my classroom, no matter what I was being told to do and when to do it and how to do it in my classroom, if I could still walk out at the end of the day and say, you know what, I still feel like I made a difference in my kids' lives this year, my students' lives today, or this year. It doesn't matter, this month, whenever. But the point is, if I can walk out and give that kind of an assessment and say, yeah, you know what? I did a lot of things this year, I think, to help get them to believe in themselves, to learn how to work well with others, to learn how to master the 3-word doable plan that's going to help them to make every year in school and beyond their best year ever they choose. And so in the end, it's all going to work out in my favor, that I'm going to be able to walk out with my head held high, just like I want my students to do after they give their best effort, and still know that not only did I have a great year, my best year ever, but that my life has purpose, that my life's work gives me purpose and meaning in my life. This is why I believe it's so important for you to know why you want to teach, and why it's important to pursue your purpose every day. I want this to serve as your North Star throughout your career. I want you to have a purpose. I want you to have a why that's going to get you excited, even on the tough days, to kind of get up and keep going. Or if you get knocked down, to get yourself back up and dust yourself off and say, you know what, it's worth it, because I'm going in the right direction. This is the path I'm called to go on, and this is the path I know is going to make a difference, right? Especially during those challenging times that you'll encounter along the way. You can't avoid the challenges. I've been telling you that all year. You can eliminate some. You can minimize some, hopefully many, using the first 19 episodes and the last 5 episodes I'm going to be talking about at the end of this podcast today, to really use some of the doable plans I've given you to help minimize and eliminate some of those. But like I've said, you have to embrace the other ones and say, even if this is still going to be a challenge I can't get rid of, I can find a way to grow from it and help my students grow from it, right? And I believe you're never going to fail when you tie it to your purpose. So, for those of you that may still be searching for your why or your purpose, and you don't necessarily connect with my purpose, you can relax. You're not going to hurt my feelings, okay? So if you're not thinking like I'm thinking about uplifting, motivating, empowering, that's okay. You're probably doing it in other ways that you don't even know about. But because once you find your purpose, you'll be more exciting. You won't be glib, that's for sure. And we talked about that, right? You'll find a way to bring your passion, infuse your heart and soul into your, like that judge told my son's high school class when they were playing in that competition in his high school band, right? He said, you guys are great technically, but now you got to pursue the art of it. You'll find your art of teaching as soon as you find your purpose. And that art will really start to come alive. And that's what I think they'll walk away with, remembering. You made learning fun. Even if it's not the subject they want to learn about in the future, you've made learning fun for them. You've made them believe that if they can get excited about something, put in the time and effort, they're going to get excited about their life just like they see you being the role model up there doing it. And so please don't try to, I'm not trying to get you to teach exactly like I'm trying to, that I've been talking about how I taught. I'm just sharing with you ideas in case you want to use them. You can walk away with something more than a pep talk here. And so, but relax, because here's what I'm going to do for you today. There are thousands of books written on purpose. I mean, books and books. You go to the bookstore, you find purpose books everywhere you go. They're in business books, they're in self-help books, they're even in sports books. I mean, they're everywhere. They are, because it's important. Living your life with purpose is very important. But you don't have time to go out and read thousands of books. And I've spent hours and hours. And if you come in my library, in my office, you'll be amazed at the number of books I read, and still read to this day, pretty much a little bit every day. I'm going to give you a much faster way to discover your purpose today. Okay, if you don't necessarily have it, this is where you want to really lock in right now. I'm going to give you an easy 3-step process to help you discover your why or your purpose. All right, 3 steps. And I kid you not, these are consistent that I found in almost every single book I've read on purpose, where it doesn't matter what genre, if it comes up, it's definitely the same steps. And so I've simplified it for you to help you maybe catch fire today and discover your purpose, or start to explore it as you're doing your teaching and living your life. So here it is. Step 1, your life's purpose should serve others in some way, in a positive way, obviously, right? Your life's purpose should serve others in a positive way in some way. Step 2, your life's purpose should tap into your unique gifts, talents, and skills to help serve others. So if you're going to serve others, figure out, what are you good at? What gifts have you been given, or talents have you developed, right? What is your passion? What do you get excited about when you're working on it and you forget about the time and you look at me like, whoa, I've been doing this for this long, right? For some people, it's writing. For some people, it's painting. For some people, it's playing music. For some people, it's just solving puzzles, right? I mean, whatever it is, find a way to infuse this into your teaching, and it's going to have a huge impact, not on just you, but on your students as well. And then step number 3, and this is really important, and this is why I think we're the luckiest people in the world, or at least some of the luckiest people in the world, because I think all of you have this, and you may not even realize it. And that is step number 3. You need an opportunity or a platform or a way to serve others to pursue your purpose. You need to have a way to serve your purpose, or you need to have a group of people to serve your purpose too, right? You need to have a platform. This is why I believe every teacher in this profession is lucky, because every one of you are given an opportunity or a platform to serve others on a daily basis using your unique gifts and talents. And you all have the potential to make a difference every day in your classroom. That's why I encourage each of you to always keep your focus on your purpose, the why you do what you do, and learn to filter everything else through it, like I was talking about earlier. Not only will it help you to continue to uplift, motivate, and empower your students, or to help them in any way that you want to serve them, it will help to also uplift, motivate, and empower you and keep yourself going strong, right? There's a quote I like, and I'm trying to remember the author, but the quote is, "We rise by lifting others." We rise by lifting others. I just think that's a great quote, because if you go in with the goal to elevate your students, you're going to elevate yourself. I can't tell you how many times in life I've been struggling with something. I'm worried about my own problems, and I went to school and I say, you know what, just like I told the kids, leave it either in my locker or out in the car or wherever, right? And I'll pick it up at the end of the day, but don't take it out on the kids. And by the end of the day, it seemed like nothing that I was worried about before coming into work. Why? Because I'd focused all my energy during the day to try to uplift, motivate, and empower my kids. It did the same for me, and it gave me that courage or that new way of looking at what I was dealing with. Not all the time, but many times it helped to diminish it or minimize it so that my problems seemed to go away. Why? Because as I was helping them to elevate them, to help them rise, I was elevating myself. I was rising as well. So please keep that in mind as well. All right. So as I start to wrap up this episode, I want to share another powerful quote from Dr. Viktor Frankl. You might remember him. I brought him up in the second episode, and he is a survivor of the Holocaust. He was in one of the death camps, and he's also a best-selling author of the book Man's Search for Meaning. And he has another quote that I love. In fact, I shared 2 quotes with you in episode number 2, but here's my favorite one from Dr. Viktor Frankl that I want to share with you today. It talks about dealing with difficult challenges or struggles in your life, and so I think it really applies to this episode. So the quote is, "Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how." Oh, I love this quote. I want to read this quote to you again, asking you to keep in mind that the word why in this quote means your purpose or your higher purpose, and the word how for our purpose in this episode means the challenges or obstacles or difficult situations you face in teaching and even in life. So here's the quote. "Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how." I want you to remember this quote by Dr. Viktor Frankl every time you start to think of that this profession is too challenging, or worse, you have thoughts about leaving this profession too soon, like so many others are currently thinking about doing or already doing. We need you. We need heroes like you to stay and bravely take on these challenges for the sake of our students and our profession and for the future of our society. So please keep this quote in mind and know that if you have a purpose that you really believe in and you come in every day with that in your mindset that you're going to come in and work on your purpose. For me, it was to uplift, motivate, and empower my students. Then what that would do is that would help me as I dealt with all the other challenges to say, you know what, these are minimal compared to how much I love my purpose and how badly I want to pursue my purpose every day. And that's what I want for you. And finally, before I wrap up this episode, I want to give you a quick preview of what you can expect to hear me talking about in the remaining 5 episodes. Starting with episode 26, I want to share with you the fourth doable plan you can use this and every school year to help you help your students to make it their best year ever, thus creating your best year ever as well. If you recall, in the first 19 episodes, I shared with you 3 doable plans for you to use and help build your team into a winning team and to create a positive, safe learning environment for all your kids to thrive in. The second doable plan that I gave you was a plan that you could give to your students to help them make every year their best year ever in school and in life. And the 3 words were attendance, attitude, and effort, right? And then the third doable plan was a plan you could work with your parents, your students' parents, to help build that bridge of support between home and school by helping to get your parents to feel welcomed to be more involved and then to keep them involved, because studies again show that that helps students develop a lifelong love of learning and many other things, including better grades and more engagement and things like that. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go back to that, and I want to kind of start to end this podcast series by giving you your fourth doable plan that you can use to keep that positive environment that you spent the first 30 days working on. I hope you did that 30-day challenge back in episode 7. Remember to take 30 days to really build this plan and to be consistent with it so it becomes a habit. So hopefully you've done that. But this fourth doable plan was designed to really help keep it going year long. It becomes a year-long theme. And it's called Teams the Theme, and it's an acronym because the word team spells out 5 things that you can do to do that. And I'm going to start talking about those in episode 26. I'm not going to give any more information because I want to keep you coming back and keep you listening. So I know if you've been listening to this many episodes, you're probably going to come back, which I love you for that. But seriously, I want to keep you coming for these last 5 episodes as well. So I'm going to be talking about that next. Again, as I start to wrap this up tonight, I can't thank you enough for taking this journey with me to create my first and quite possibly my only podcast series. Believe me, I've enjoyed doing this, but it's like a mountain I don't think I could ever climb again. It's a lot of work, and even though I don't know what I'm doing my best. But I want to thank you for taking this journey with me, especially those of you that have been with me the whole way. I really, really appreciate that. And I do hope that even after I reach the 30th episode, that you'll continue to come back year after year to my website. I know they'll be there for sure at bestyearever.net. I'll have them posted on my website. But hopefully, wherever you're going to listen to these podcasts right now, hopefully my podcast series will still be on that. But if not, you always have my website you can come to. But I hope you'll come back and listen whenever you need a pep talk or just some encouragement, or you want to remember something, or something that will keep you coming back, because that's why I created this podcast series. So I can't thank you enough, though, for taking this journey with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm already looking forward to our next conversation, which will be episode number 26, and introduce this fourth doable plan to you. So in the meantime, please remember, best year ever. You have the power to make it happen.